Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to today's PATA webinar on a meaningful Pacific Asia tourism economy. Before we begin, let me first introduce myself. My name is Paul Banangan. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications here at the Pacific Asia Travel Association, and I will be your host for today. We have a great session today to look at what meaningful tourism is with some speakers from all around the globe. But before we begin, I do have one housekeeping note I need to share with everyone here this afternoon. I know many of you are familiar with Zoom, but just as a refresher, you'll see at the bottom of your browser some functionalities, chat and Q&A. We will have a Q&A section at the end of all the presentations. So if you have any questions for our speakers, please submit them using the Q&A function as shown on the screen. Please do not submit any questions using the chat function, but feel free to say hello, introduce yourself. However, any questions, please do submit them using the Q&A function as noted on your screen. I did receive some questions by email, so I do have some questions in advance. But again, any questions, feel free to drop it into the chat, into the Q&A at any time. All right, so I said we have speakers with us from all around the globe, so let's not delay and move on to our first speaker to provide his welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the CEO at PATA, Mr. Noor Ahmad Hamid. Noor?
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Tourism is not just about seeing the world. It is about changing the world for the better. So that's a statement that I wanted to start with. And of course, good afternoon and warm greetings from the PATA head office in Bangkok to all of you. And firstly, I'd like to, on behalf of PATA, to thank all of you for joining us in this edition of PATA webinar series entitled The Meaningful Pacific Asia Tourism Economy. The topic speaks directly to the future we all hope to shape and share. I think this is very important. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, in this world facing increasingly complex challenges, the travel and tourism industry must indeed play a more purposeful role, not just an economic driver, but as a genuine force for positive change. Of course, much has been said about sustainable, being responsible, and inclusive tourism. But the real question is, what can we actually do as an industry to address the very issue that we have contributed to and create the long-term solutions that make us future ready? So that's a question that I want to pose to all of you today. And we are in an industry that not just move people across borders. We move hearts, we shape perceptions, and we create lifelong memories. In that regards, I believe that there is a real power, and that is a responsibility of travel and tourism industry. I don't intend to give long speeches, even though I have the opportunity to do so, but rather leave you with a reflection. Let us take this moment to rethink what tourism should be. I repeat, what should tourism be? Not just for today or tomorrow, but for 30, 50, even 100 years from now. What legacy are we leaving behind through the choices that we make today? I sincerely hope this next hour help us to move closer to answering to this important question. What tourism should be? We have the honor to be joined by 5 distinguished speakers who bring invaluable experience and insights into this conversation, which I think is very, very important. So I would like to thank Catherine, Dr. Nurgle, Ria, Alex, and Professor Dr. Wolfgang. My heartfelt appreciation also goes to all of you for being part of this important conversation. And I'm sure that all attendees are looking forward to an engaging and thought-provoking session. And with that, I do not want to spend any more time, but to wish everyone a productive and a meaningful discussion ahead. And please do remember the very question that I posed earlier on just now in our conversation today: what should tourism be? Thank you. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Noor, and a very important question to be asking ourselves as we watch today's webinar. So we've come to our first speaker of today. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Executive Director at the Meaningful Tourism Center. Please welcome Professor Dr. Wolfgang, Georg, Arlt. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Professor, over to you.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you very much, Nora, for your very clear words and giving us this task, which indeed we try to do with the meaningful tourism approach to look at a sustainable future of the tourism and of the world, basically. Thank you, Paul, and all the PATA people at the PATA headquarters in organizing this webinar, and of course, thank you to my fellow speakers. So let me just introduce quickly what are we talking about, what is the idea of meaningful tourism, and then the other speakers will then go more into detail for different aspects of that. So if I can share my presentation with you, just a second. Just a second. Here we are. Okay. So yes, I hope you can see that. So I will talk about meaningful tourism, the concepts and the tools, because as Nor reminded us, this is not just some nice idea or some nice talking. We have to do something. The house is on fire in many ways. So let's see what we can do. So why do we need meaningful tourism? Because, well, unfortunately, every discussion what is happening in the future will have to start with climate change. So that will dominate the development in the coming years, and we see already every day in the news the negative impacts. You see how this is also influencing tourism in many ways. At the same time, AI and other technologies are changing the world every day. Many things which you couldn't do as a private person or as a small company now become available for everybody. At the same time, many people are afraid to lose their jobs. And of course, we see also on the demand side, people don't travel anymore just to relax. And most people don't travel anymore for sightseeing. So what people are looking for are experiences and are actually transformational experiences. So meaningful tourism is not something nice to have, so because we are all good people, but it is something really providing a set of tools, helping you as a destination, as a company to survive and to start now the transformative processes you have to do. So what is meaningful tourism? Well, it's basically a very simple idea. To have everybody happy, everybody has to be happy. Everybody. That means all stakeholders in tourism and hospitality need to receive, on the one hand, objective benefits, money, jobs, regional development, careful treatment of the environment, but also subjective satisfaction. So Nor just reminded us, tourism is not just about money. It's also not just about traveling. It's also about feelings, creating friendships, creating new connections, about transformation of oneself. So objective benefits and subjective satisfaction from all tourism and hospitality activities. And we have defined 6 main stakeholders, which are the travelers, or the hotels, the guests, the host communities. And we just saw a few weeks ago in Europe, many of them are protesting that tourism has gone too far, taking away the places from them. The tourism employees, which have often been overlooked in all the discussions about sustainable tourism. And we see now that in most countries in the world, there's a lack of staff. After the pandemic, many people did not come back to the industry. The number of tourism management students is going down in most universities in the world. And then the companies themselves, which have to earn money to stay alive, to invest in new developments. The governments on different levels, as tourism is happening in the public sphere. And of course, the environment, both on a local level and we talk about carbon dioxide on a global level as well. So the difference maybe to other approaches is that this is a holistic approach, which includes all key stakeholders. And it is not looking to get compromises or balancing, but we need to align the benefits and satisfactions, and we have to measure it, and we are using smart KPIs, key performance indicators for that, so that it's not just some nice blah, blah, blah. In 2050, we will have this and this, but measurable impacts, and what you can see year by year or half year by half year even, do the activities we take have the effect we wanted them to have. And so meaningful tourism is not only looking at the trip itself, but also starting from how to build hotels and other infrastructure in a meaningful and in a sustainable way through the creation of financing and insurance, and also in the end, of course, through waste management and so on. And also maybe a different to many other approaches is that it's based on positive psychology. So not talking about what we have to be ashamed of or what we should stop doing, but talking about how can we have emotional well-being, and emotional well-being you cannot have as an individual person. You can only be happy if the people around you are also happy too. If the local people are throwing stones at tourists, no tourists will be happy. So what do we offer? Well, a tool to analyze the situation, a tool to mitigate the contradictions and to align interests, to develop a strategy, smart KPIs to monitor the progress. And also we have developed tools to where you can compare your company or your destination with others around the world. Very important, of course, that is also something we not only do for the industry, but also for students for academic level. So both academic and also vocational education. And of course, also finally, that this helps to have a discourse. Tourism used to be the good guys. Now in the discussion, very often we are the bad guys. Pollution without any reason. So we have to show in this way how we are the good guys and how tourism is part of the solution, not part of the problem. Well, just briefly, how did this develop? So of course, before the pandemic already, there was a debate about over-tourism, and then in the pandemic, mobility suddenly became seen as a threat. People spreading the virus, flying from one place to another. And of course, we see the results of climate change, and it will get worse. Unfortunately, we all know that in the coming years and decades. So, which means that a lot of business models, beach holidays in many places, when you have 50 degrees, nobody wants to go into the water anymore. If the water becomes so warm that you have so many algae and jellyfish and so on. So beach holidays in many places will no longer exist in a few years. Skiing, of course, as well, but also walking around in the city center. If it's 50 degrees, you don't want to do that. So tourism will have to change, basically, in a nutshell, moving indoors much more than before. And we will probably have simply less leisure tourism because the global economy might not be in such a good shape in the coming years. And as I said, we have to switch back to a provider of joy and peace, to be seen as that, and not as the people responsible for unnecessary pollution. We have to bring back staff and students to make tourism more sexy again, to work there. And we see that, unfortunately, in the pandemic, everybody had agreed arrival numbers are not the best KPI and not way to measure how successful is tourism. But we see now that UN Tourism, other organizations are again have started to talk about arrival numbers as the main KPI. And we see some partial solutions of, oh, we do a tourism tax and then everything will be fine, which is obviously not the answer to many of the problems we have. So meaningful tourism is rather a new idea. So we have like 5 years development. So I am very happy and well, a little bit proud that in 2021 I started the Meaningful Tourism Center, and 2022 we started the Meaningful Tourism Awards, which were given at different fairs in Singapore, Doha, and last year in Kathmandu, where I'm located now at the moment. And we published some chapters in some famous publications. And last year, the headquarters of the Meaningful Tourism Center which is a British limited company, moved to Kathmandu, and now we are based here in the middle of Asia. And also last year we started the Meaningful Tourism Transformational Game Workshops, and the three ladies who will speak after me are all certified trainers for that. And also I saw that in the audience there are a number of our trainers. Thank you for joining. And of course, it was a very big step, and probably the biggest step until now, that in April this year, Qatar approved this new vision statement that a meaningful tourism, a meaningful Pacific Asia tourism economy is what we are aiming to develop. And I'm really very thankful that Qatar has taken this step, and I think Qatar has confirmed of being one of the thought leaders in the discussion of the development of tourism. And so we are going on. We had some Meaningful Tourism Forum a few months ago in China, and so we will have other things happening during the year. Just briefly saying, well, meaningful travel has been around as an idea for quite some time, but meaningful travel is talking about the view of the tourist, which is important, but it's not enough to say, okay, how can you have a more meaningful travel? That is nice if you try to use local sources and meet local people. That's certainly better as being an all-inclusive resort behind high walls or on a cruise ship. But meaningful tourism is much more than that. And we are also not concentrating on high yield because well, there are only a limited number of rich people in the world. Not all destinations can go after that, and also tourism should be an activity available for many people, as many as possible, and not just for millionaires. And last point, of course, is that we also include not just leisure tourism, it's also business travel, visiting friends and relatives, health and wellness tourism, education, because in the discussion, oh, we should all fly less and so on. Many people forget that about half of international travel is not for leisure, but for all these other reasons. So meaningful tourism is necessary, I would say, because it is based on bringing the joy and the positive side of tourism back into the discussion. It is open for cultural interpretations of obviously what is meaningful. If you ask somebody here in Kathmandu and you ask somebody in my hometown in Berlin and Germany, well, you will get different answers to a degree. So that is something where also we don't have fixed ideas, which in many discussions are based on Western way of thinking, but it is flexible, and we have trainers for training in Africa, South America, in Asia, in Europe, everywhere. So all having their different approach. And so we are in a situation that there's a gentleman from Mr. Schumpeter who many years ago developed this creative destruction concept, that we are in a situation we have to change our business models. We have to change the way tourism is organized. And that is not a choice because climate change is there, AI is there. So the geopolitical situation is also not very favorable. So we have to react, and now we still have time to react. We are still able to do that. So this is something which cannot be delayed, and you can't say, oh, we wait another 10 years to get some scientific results. We have to act now. What's the first step? Well, the first step is to learn about meaningful tourism. And so the tool we are promoting is that there is a transformational game workshop, so which is based on the role play. It's not just recording presentations, but people are actively involved, being one of the stakeholders. And you can see, I'm very happy that in January already we did version of that at the Qatar headquarters for the Qatar people in Bangkok. And for Qatar members, of course, we are Qatar member ourselves. If they book this, they get a 50% discount. So you can find this if you go, if you're a Qatar member, you go members for members, you will find this offer. And so hopefully if they're interested, and I'm sure after you listen to my fellow speakers, you will be more interested even. There is a Pata Travel Mart coming up at the end of August. I hope that you all will come to Bangkok if possible to join. It's certainly one of the main events in the year. And just one day before, on the 25th of August, we will also do a mini cultural confirmation game workshop, which I, together with my Thai colleagues, will perform. So if you are coming to PTM, so come one day earlier and join the workshop. That is an easy way to understand more in detail. I have personal experience, transformation experience, how to do that. And the last thing I want briefly to mention is that also to celebrate the webinar today. So we are today publishing a new tourism expert, FTC tourism expert skills metrics, because so we have almost 50 trainers by the end of this month, and they have, of course, a great variety of skills, of expertise, speaking 20 languages. So we make this a matrix where you can find so who is able to help you, and so that therefore we have the trainers for each country, but also if there is some special development and other things to do, so we have people covering a lot of topics which they can help within our meaningful tourism community. So ending by quoting the Pata chair, Peter Simon, so who said that tourism must evolve from a number thing to a value-driven endeavor. And he also said that so we believe the future of tourism lies in creating shared value, and we are proud to work in partnership with Meaningful Tourism Center, and we are proud to work in partnership with Tata. So this new vision statement was agreed in April with 100%. You can see on the picture, 100% of the votes. The only one which got really 100% of the votes in favor. So that is a very good booster for our work. And so let's together build a meaningful tourism economy in the Asian Pacific region and in the rest of the world. So if you want to know more, you can contact Pata, you can contact us. You can see here this, and we have a weekly free newsletter for the Meaningful Tourism Weekly. You can subscribe, please do so to stay up to date what is happening. So this is my short introduction into the topic, and so Paul, back to you, and to everybody who's joining on Zoom, on YouTube, on other channels, thank you so much for spending your time to learn more about how to make the world a better place.
Thank you very much, Professor Wolfgang, and we'll hear more from him later on during the Q&A session. But we'll move next to our next speaker. But do join us for Pata Travel Mart, as Professor had just mentioned. If you want to join the trade show, the registration for exhibitors is still open, so you can still register today if you want to exhibit at Pata Travel Mart. Feel free to contact me. My email will be at the end of the presentations today. Also, just want to note, one of the things our chairman likes to also say, just to more sum up what the quote that professor had mentioned, our chairman likes to say, you know, a good place to live is a great place to visit. So kind of keeps it more tight and memorable. But now let's jump to our next presenter, and talking about making a difference for destinations, communities, and future generations in Asia Pacific. Please welcome the founder and CEO at Millennium Destinations, Ms. Catherine Germier-Hamel. Catherine?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Good morning, good afternoon. And today I wanted to speak more about the journey that led me to meaningful tourism. So it's a little bit of personal storytelling, and I will share my presentation here with you. Can you see it?
Just one second. There it goes.
Yeah, I hope it's, can you see it now?
Yes, all good.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Catherine, and I'm French, as you can hear, but most importantly, I'm Eurasian. So you will say, how is it important? I guess first it is important because on the immigration forms, there is no Eurasian. I need to choose between Caucasian and Asian. And secondly, because being Eurasian is a lot of contradictions, differences, and exceptions. So when I was younger, much long ago, I had to choose. So I chose first to be French. So the first part of my career was dedicated to international development. I worked a lot in Africa and Latin America, and I worked in environment. And I studied in a business school. So I was really into business. I wanted to be the best student and everything. But in 2005 or 2004, I had to leave my first company. And I decided to study 1 year sustainable tourism because my last project was about sustainable tourism. And just after, I had to move to Korea. So why Korea? Because my husband got a position there. So in Korea, I stayed 17 years. And I worked first at Novotel, then I worked for the Sustainable Tourism for Eliminating Poverty Foundation under the UN Tourism Initiative, STEP. Then I started my own company, Millennium Destinations. I also became a GSTC trainer. I also created Millennium Hikers to promote sustainability in motion through sports and hiking. Then the Heroes platform, travel platform, I will talk about this. And then again, Millennium Destination, new version. So this is an example of the project that were supported by the STEP Foundation. Community-based project, poverty elimination project, and the idea was really to create economic opportunities for the local communities through tourism. But it was too early. And we just realized that when the funding are over, the project is over. So I started to think about how better promote those projects, how to coordinate all initiatives across the world. So I started this blog, Millennium Destinations, so that people are aware, because if there is a place without tourists, it is not a destination. So I wanted to give more exposure to those projects, especially using tourism as a tool for local development and empowerment. So this is the story of South Korea, 30 years of tourism story, because tourism started in Korea in 1989, or let's say 1988, with the Summer Olympics and when South Korea, became a democracy. And then, of course, tourism is strongly related to trade. So Korea became, from one of the poorest country, one of the richest country. It was not a miracle. They received financial support and they received also support for education. It's not like they only received money, but they had a vision, they had a plan. So in 2002, the FIFA World Cup with Japan, but there was the Asian financial crisis before, and then little by little, Korea is becoming more and more popular. At the same time, for sustainable tourism, we have, of course, in 2005, the STEP Foundation, but before, Korea really wanted to attract this foundation because in 2002, UN Tourism, the World Tourism Organization, became a UN agency. And Korea, at the same time, really wanted to be part of it. So that's why the STEP Foundation was established in Seoul. Then we had, this 10-year framework partnership, and we had in 2017, the International Year of Sustainable Tourism. So I experienced everything, even the crisis, and more, I experienced over-tourism in Korea. Korea became a not so well-known destination, was a not so well-known destination, and became a very popular destination. And people, and especially local communities, started to become very angry and started to protest against the tourists. So I would say before 2011 or before 2010, let's say, Korea was not that popular. But then there was the Presidential Committee for Branding, national branding, and they started to have more and more soft power strategies and policies. And you had, the Hallyu, the Korean wave of, let's say, pop culture. And then Korea attracted more and more tourists. So you would expect, sustainable tourism or just community-based tourism to become more and more important. So that's why Korea started to have the Fair and Sustainable Tourism Forum. It's not Korea, it's Seoul. And they hosted this 7th Global Summit on Urban Tourism of the World Tourism Organization. And at that time, I was recruited by Seoul City to help them in their campaign Fair Travel Living Together, because that campaign was also strongly related to over-tourism and how we can better manage the flows of tourists and provide more well-being opportunities for the local communities. So Millennium's destination was part of this campaign. Then, at the same time, I also created the Sustainable and Smart Tourism Forum. I was more and more involved into projects in relation with community-based tourism. I presented my insight at the GSTC Asia Pacific Sustainable Tourism Conference. But what is very important here is that at this event in 2017 in Busan, we talked a lot about sustainable tourism for hours until someone raised his hands and asked the question, by the way, what is sustainable tourism? And I just realized many people actually don't understand what is sustainable tourism. And it's normal because in Asia, we don't necessarily understand this Western concept that is mostly focusing on environment. So the question is, what's the point? It's not even what it is, it's what the point. Why do we have headaches with this sustainable tourism? Why we don't see the benefits? And well, always talking about the future generations, but what's happening now? So I replied to this gentleman on the same day. I tried, to figure out in 2 minutes what I could reply. I just told him, it depends. Which is not really a nice answer, but then I elaborated. It depends if you're a government or a decision maker. It's a vision or a strategy. If you're a business, it's a business model. If you are a local community, it's a lifestyle, it's a mindset. So it's a lot of things, and the same way tourism can represent many different things: economic sector, human activity, an industry, or, well, something, a concept, we need to adjust the definition of sustainable tourism. But what is very important is that let's not talk too much about sustainable tourism. So during COVID, a little bit before COVID, I wanted to create a travel platform that is actually focusing on the host. That's why it's called Heroes. The host are heroes. And I wanted to talk about sustainability as less as possible. So my point was we need to put the needs and interests of the local communities first at the core of any travel experience. And the motto is travel good, because if you travel good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you can do good. If you don't feel good, you don't do good. Just think about your own comfort and needs and interest. So Heroes is basically focusing on experiences, providing a positive impact on people and the planet. And almost the game or the challenge was to mention sustainability as less as possible. And we started in Korea, then moved to Southeast Asia. I have to say why. It's because I was locked down a lot of times during COVID, and I had a lot of time, to explore the travel platforms, to travel online at least. So then in 21st, I moved to Cambodia, to become the CEO of Destination Mekong. I received this proposal by the founder of Destination Mekong, and I immediately accepted it. I really needed to, almost escape Korea, because I could feel a growing frustration that, it's very difficult to convince people about sustainability. And every time people tell me, yes, but. So I thought, and I was correct, that it would be easier to move to Southeast Asia, because here it's really about how tourism can contribute to the well-being and socioeconomic development and empowerment of the local communities. We are not here, to promote necessarily or priority very difficult concept. The most important concept is how can I develop and grow in a sustainable way through tourism. So at the beginning, Destination Mekong was supposed to be a tourism board, regional tourism board. It moved to destination marketing organization and very quickly to destination management organization, to the point I felt relevant to create the concept of destination impact organization, which makes sense when you talk about a region including 6 countries that are normally competing. So of course, they were willing to cooperate a lot during COVID, but then after, that's another story. So I would say we work on the purpose, we work on the mission. We wanted to be sure that we create opportunities, value, benefits for all, and we share it. We didn't want to impress people, we wanted to inspire them. So that was more a job of advocacy. Of course, we wanted to promote the region as a sustainable, inclusive destination, providing benefits for all. But it's a little bit of blah, blah. We really wanted to provide skills, knowledge, opportunities, networking opportunities. And the most important was reconnect people, reconnect the public sector with the private sector, reconnect the providers with the demand and the market, and reconnect, all stakeholders between themselves. And, after COVID, I just realized that the biggest problem of people, of humanhood, was being lonely. And we felt it so much and people became anxious. And I just realized that connection was a great cure for addiction or any kind of negative feeling or the absence of well-being. So in 2024, after organizing a lot of events and to be honest, being successful in creating a new dynamic, and especially putting on stage people who are usually not given a voice, women, local community members, young people, I believe that it was maybe time to restart Millennium Destination, to regain a little bit of independence and probably focus more on Cambodia, because I'm living in Cambodia. We have a new Ministry of Tourism, new minister, sorry. We have a new Cambodia Tourism Board. And I just wanted, to reconnect also with the Heroes platform. So I'm still advocating a lot about sustainable tourism, but to be honest, recently I removed sustainability from the Heroes platform because there was a lot of greenwashing and it was not intentional. Everybody wanted to show their sustainability commitment, but in reality, they were giving, the stick to be beaten, as we say in France. I don't know in English, I don't remember. And anyway, I just realized that we talk too much about environment. And it's important, don't get me wrong, but when people talk about plastic, zero waste, zero emission, it creates more anxiety than action. And so that's why this picture shows how economic focus is, of course, strong, because tourism is an economy and economic impacts are very tangible. You get money, you have money on your bank account. Environmental focus is equally strong, but unfortunately, the social and cultural focus is lesser. So, I'm a very compassionate person and a harmonizer. And I feel sometimes that we are focusing too much on economic and money and on environment even, but not really on people. And this figure doesn't satisfy me in the way that it doesn't exist in the real world. You know, we don't have 3 circles in the world. We have, you know, people working, living, and suffering from tourism activities or benefiting from them. So I decided to create a new illustration of my vision of tourism. So here, initially on the top, it was written sustainable tourism, but I replaced with meaningful tourism because it makes sense for me, to me. So yes, what is meaningful sustainable tourism? Grassroots vision for decision makers or policy makers, government. It's a practical framework, a guiding framework for all. It's a business model and it's a mindset also for all. So I put the local communities at the center. I put the travelers, the private sector, tourism operator and service provider, and social enterprise at the intersection with NGOs and international NGOs who have this social, cultural, and environmental mission, and the government and destination management or marketing organization focusing on attractiveness and competitiveness. So they all have needs, interests, values, and the purpose is to align all these values, needs, and interests. So we cannot satisfy everybody, but at least it's more realistic to try to achieve well-being for all, rather, you know, that thinking about sustainable tourism in something in a way that is really creating some kind of despair, because, you know, it's just like, for many people, we cannot achieve that. And if we cannot achieve that, then let's not do anything. Let's just enjoy, drink a lot of cocktails, and let's not do anything. So, you know, this fear, this anxiety is paralyzing people. So that's why I really wanted to make people feel more comfortable. We are not living in a world of perfection, but we can try at least. And also the 3 circles, I wanted to follow this approach where every activities, every societies are in an environment and they have economic activities. So it's not like 3 circles. I know we need to illustrate something, but for me, it talks more than those 3 circles of sustainability, and not knowing, you know, what we should call it, ecotourism or whatever. So yeah, the idea is harmony, balance, my vision, pardon me, Wolfgang, relevance and well-being for all. Because, you know, what is important is after living almost 20 years, over 20 years in Asia, I reconnected with my Asian roots. And I really feel that, yes, this is very healing for me to accept my Asian background, and to accept the fact that from the very beginning, when I was a child, I really wanted harmony. I really wanted to make people connect with each other. So I'm not sure it's because I'm Asian, but actually it's part of my personality. And I found a lot of familiar characteristic in Korea and Cambodia. So this is Millennium Destination 2.0. Still a very small company, but a big network. And I would like to encourage you to join the network. And that's the end. I hope I was not too long. That's the end. And here you will see the statue of a very important person to me. It's a Bodhisattva, Avalokitesvara, which is the Bodhisattva of compassion. You can find it in China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia. This is someone who found enlightenment but want to stay on earth to help other people find enlightenment. I'm not pretending I'm a Bodhisattva, but I like this image of trying to inspire people and to have compassion for them. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Catherine. And we'll hear more from her during our Q&A session at the end of all the presentations. So let's quickly move to our next presenter. Second here. to talk about meaningful tourism transformational game workshops as entry points to practical action. Please welcome the assistant professor, sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly, Alanya Aladdin Kekubat University. Please welcome Dr. Nurgul Boz. Dr.
Hello.
Nurgul, over to you.
Yes, hello, I'm sharing my presentation. So, hello everyone, my name is Dr. Nurgul Boz. I'm professor in gastronomy and culinary arts in tourism faculty, Alanya Alaaddin Keykubat University in Turkey. I'm very happy to be here with you today. I want to talk about a simple but powerful idea. How can we turn the values of meaningful tourism into real action? So, I will talk about first, what is meaningful tourism? It is about more than numbers or profits. It focuses on well-being, local communities, preservation of local cultural values, and meaningful experience for visitors. We aim to explore, support tourism that is a participatory, sustainable, and also measurable. So why do we need practical tools? I will talk about it. Many tourism policies sounds great, but they often stay on just paper. To apply these ideas in real life, tourism professionals and communities need practical tools. Game-based workshops are a great way to simulate and practice meaningful tourism values in an engaging format. So what are the transformational game workshops? These workshops are interactive. We use role-playing, scenario analysis, and group simulation. The themes include local identity, communities' values, and visitor interaction. Participants learn by doing, and which builds empathy and deeper understanding and sustainability. So I will share just here is the model designed for Turkey, especially in the Alanya where I live, and similar culinary destination. The target groups are tourism students or local food producer, women entrepreneurship activity. Participants design the culinary tourism route focused on the local and sustainable. Learning goals, empathy, stakeholder negotiation, and community-focused planning. So this is the model. So SMART KPI framework. To measure the success of the workshop, we use SMART KPIs. Specific, use a local food products. Measurable, participants' satisfaction and learning. Achievable, collaboration with the local chef and NGOs also. Realistic, so we can use based on local needs and capacity. Time bound, 1 day intensive model will be enough for this model. So measurable outcomes from this workshop, we expect greater understanding of meaningful tourism values, better cooperation with students, local actors, and NGOs, stronger focus on local and culture in tourism planning. This is a step toward real-life implementation of idea. So the triangle impact. For lasting impact, we are suggesting a triangle strategy. Integrate workshop in the tourism education, collaborate with local artists and NGOs, create training kit for other destinations or regions. So implementation suggestion. We can scale this with this model by embedding it into tourism and hospitality education, partnering with local artists and civil society, developing adaptable training kits under PATA framework. So to summarize, meaningful tourism is not just a theory, it is something we can practice. And game-based workshops are simple, fun, and effective way to make that happen. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer any question or talk more about how we can apply this in different countries or regions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nurgul. That was a very short and sweet presentation, and we're moving quite along. We come to our next presentation. Dr. Nurgul, you can please stop sharing. Thank you. We've come to our next presentation. Let me just share my screen here. And the next presenter will be talking about networks and information sources supporting a meaningful tourism development in Asia Pacific region. Please welcome the co-founder of Asia Sustainable Travel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Ria Vito Tabora. Ria, over to you.
Thank you, Paul, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Ria Vito Tabora, joining from the beautiful and today rainy Philippines. I'm a former hotelier. I worked overseas for 15 years, handling sales and marketing, branding, revenue management, and I am now back home in the Philippines. I founded Travelation now in 2019 and co-founded Asia Sustainable Travel in 2022. I'm so glad to be here. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so I'll cover this topic, building networks and using the right information to support a meaningful tourism development in Asia Pacific. And let's start why we're here. When we speak about tourism, we're not just talking about arrivals or revenue, the usual, the usual business stuff. We're talking about people, communities, cultures, and the natural places that make Asia Pacific region so special. And so we say tourism is about more than growth. It's about strengthening community connections among travelers, host communities, people working in the sector, companies, governments, and the environment. And that's the core of meaningful tourism, as described by Professor Wolfgang earlier. It's a framework that encourages us to look at the bigger picture. How can we ensure that everyone touched by tourism truly benefits? Today, my aim is to make meaningful tourism something you can put into action. And in practice, that means knowing how to tap into the right networks and information sources, the relationships, knowledge, and support systems that make real change possible. I'd walk you through some of the major networks supporting this movement in our region, highlight useful resources, and offer some thoughts on how you can make the most of them in your own work. You see, we can't create lasting change working in silos. Networks are what tie us all together, allowing us to share experience, learn from challenges, and celebrate what's working. So whether you're a policymaker, an entrepreneur, or a community leader, being part of a network connects you to resources, ideas, and support. So think of these networks as circles that overlap. Everyone brings their own knowledge, but we share a common goal of making tourism more responsible, more rewarding, and more sustainable for all. Because after all, our best progress has always come when people with different perspectives talk, share, and find ways to work together. So here are the key networks in Asia Pacific, and I would like to highlight some of the networks that are really making a real difference in this region. We have PATA, of course, Pacific Asia Travel Association, because this organization has placed meaningful tourism at the center of its mission, bringing together various stakeholders, offering training, developing resource kits for destinations, businesses, and community leaders. And their adoption, the recent adoption of the Meaningful Pacific Asia Tourism Economy Vision Statement shows just how committed they are to creating a future that's balanced and resilient for all. And then, of course, Meaningful Tourism Center is a practical hub for those looking to apply meaningful tourism principles. It's the heart of it all. At the MTC website, you'll find some case studies, expert advice, training tools, and the MTC Trainer Matrix, which I will elaborate later on, especially stands out because it connects stakeholders with country-based trainers across a range of skills and languages. Then there's ATA, Adventure Travel Trade Association, which offers a platform for adventure travel operators and advocates with resources and events tailored to innovative, conservation-minded tourism. There's also this AEN, Asian Ecotourism Network, which is a go-to network if you want to connect with ecotourism professionals, communities, and businesses across Asia, sharing tools, training, and success stories as well. Then, of course, there's GSTC that sets recognized standards for sustainability, and they offer tools to help destinations align with the best practices. SPTO, South Pacific Tourism Organization, is a regional body that helps island nations build sustainable tourism skills and collaborative solutions. And some of you may be members here, Skull International. The organization provides a global platform for tourism professionals focused on responsible business, networking, and community building. And last is the World Sustainability Hospitality Alliance, which works with hotels, hospitality companies, and their partners worldwide to raise sustainability standards, reduce environmental impact, and champion sustainability in the social responsibility in the hospitality industry. These networks show the diversity of approaches and the value of having connections at your fingertips, no matter where you operate. Then there are also conferences and events supporting meaningful tourism development in APAC. For example, FIS, the Phuket Hotels for Island Sustaining Tourism, is an annual event organized by the Phuket Hotels Association, focused on driving sustainability for island destinations. And then in my home country, the Philippines, there is this Philippine Hospitality on Sustainable Tourism, which again is an annual event connecting Philippine hospitality professionals and thought leaders to discuss and explore sustainable practice across the industry. And I'd like to mention AST forums where we organize under Asia Sustainable Travel. It's a response to the market's need for a cost-effective way of participating in the global sustainability conversation, because we bring the forums into places with dynamic yet often overlooked tourism communities. These are smaller scale events with about 40, 50 attendees, but we discuss actionable ideas and meaningful conversations supporting sustainable hospitality and tourism. As for the information sources, I'd like to highlight, connections and conversations are nothing without solid information to support them. So knowing where to find clear, practical information makes a real difference. And there is Institute of Tourism, which provides, research, analysis, training, webinars as well to drive informed and evidence-based decisions in tourism and hospitality. AST, it's a media and intelligence company focused on delivering agenda-setting sustainability content and Asia-focused marketing solutions for the travel and hospitality brands. And of course, meaningful tourism, wherein it's a tool, it's a website with comprehensive information, resources, implementation tools, and wide network of certified trainers guiding all the 6 major stakeholders that we mentioned earlier. And as Professor Wolfgang mentioned, there is Meaningful Tourism Weekly, a newsletter which contains case studies, best tourism examples, meaningful tourism news, and other reference materials. There are also ebooks available for download on the website. And mentioned earlier by Dr. Nurgul and Professor Wolfgang, the Meaningful Tourism Transformational Game Workshop certified trainers. I'd like to highlight that, this trainer makes bridges needs and solutions, because what's so exciting about this meaningful tourism tool is that it's country-based approach, meaning if you're in Indonesia, in Thailand, in the Philippines, in Vietnam, or in any country, there is a certified trainer with local, expertise to support you. Now there are 40, close to 50 by end of the month, certified trainers across the region, across the globe. And these trainers are not generalists. We bring a rich mix of skills and knowledge spanning from certification and auditing, branding and marketing, policy, finance, law, research, travel writing, journalism, and so much more. Plus, with a wide range of working languages from English to French, European languages, and many Asian and African languages, it's easy to find someone who speaks your language because, as I mentioned, it's country-based. The trainers are country-based. So what can you do next with everything that you've heard from me, basically? So first is get involved with organizations like PATA, GSTC, MTC, Meaningful Tourism Center, and the others that I have mentioned. Reach out, ask questions, join working groups, and attend events. Networking, these are very helpful in our industry. And use the resources at your fingertips, the MTC Hub, the PATA Toolkit, and the digital platforms available. and look for opportunities to partner across sectors and communities. The best solutions are almost always built in collaboration. And invest in capacity building, whether it's through formal training or workshops. We always have a lot to learn from each other. So in closing, let's remember that tourism can and should reflect the best of our values, welcoming, inclusive, and empowering. And by leveraging networks, making the most of new knowledge, and working together, we can move from intention to action and build a more meaningful future for tourism across Asia. Thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you as we take these next steps together. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Ria, and thank you for that presentation. Now we've come to our last presentation, but before I get that, I just want to mention there's a couple comments here. Presentations will be available after the webinar. We'll be sending an email out to the link to the webinar on our YouTube page, as well as a copy of all the speakers' presentations. And just a reminder, if you have any questions for our speakers, we will have Q&A after this final presentation. Just drop your question in the Q&A at the bottom of your browser. Okay, we've come to our final presentation, last and certainly not least, to provide information about PADA's vision of a meaningful Pacific Asia tourism economy. Please welcome PADA Executive Board member, Mr. Alexander Rayner. Alex, over to you.
Thank you, Paul, and greetings from Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia. So I'd like to just talk about the vision statement, how it came about, and a bit of background about how we came to this wording. So to begin with, this is a vision statement which is aspirational and goes beyond financial success. Yeah, we're looking at positive social, cultural, and environmental impacts. And we want to position tourism not just as an economic engine, but as a force for good that respects and nurtures the region's diversity and resources. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
So we had a lot of discussions with our members, and we talked about PADA's been around for 74 years. Next year, we're celebrating our 75th anniversary. What do we do different going forward? And there was a lot of feedback that was very consistent. Specifically, the terminology and frameworks of sustainability and regenerative tourism and many of the others, responsible tourism, they have lost relevance and are losing support. So that was a very key message that was a takeaway. So we needed a new term. We needed something that was fresh. We also were told that tourism is seen as a problem increasingly, not as a solution, which we aspire for tourism to be positioned as. And also, tourism is not appealing to students and to employees as much as it used to be. So these were all considerations. And then we discovered the great work by a PATA member. And that's the Meaningful Tourism Center, founded by Professor Wolfgang. And we noticed that he has invested a lot of time and effort and resources into this concept. And we were all really impressed with the research that supports the Meaningful Tourism Center. So this was actually the catalyst for the word meaningful to come into our vision statement. Now, when we looked at the definitions, meaningful is, in the dictionary, it's defined as useful, important, significant, valuable, quality or purpose that is useful, serious, important, or useful in some way. So very positive words. As an adjective, it is full of meaning, significance, purpose, or value, and significance. And then, of course, there is the positive psychology, which Professor had used in developing the Meaningful Tourism Center. And a meaningful life is a construct having to do with the purpose, significance, fulfillment, satisfaction of life, having real importance or value. So the word meaningful became the right choice. And when we asked opinions amongst our membership and also non-members, the responses were very, very positive. So that's basically how we came up with this new vision statement. And then, of course, we added a word, the tourism economy. And I think it's important to note that tourism is a business. Tourism needs to be viable, to be sustainable into the future, and needs to be profitable. However, combining it with meaningful, it achieves the purpose of, we want a tourism economy where people are not exploited, but everybody benefits. And that's the underlying kind of thinking. So that's the background I wanted to share. I'm looking forward to implementing a whole range of PATA initiatives and helping the PATA Secretariat to implement them more correctly in a more meaningful way. And we're looking forward to your feedback and how would you like us to apply meaningful towards PATA and its initiatives going forward. Your feedback is extremely important, and the vision of meaningful Pacific Asia tourism economy is based on many of the members of PATA and non-members as well. So thank you, Paul, for the opportunity to elaborate on how we came up with the vision statement, and I look forward to this being a leadership catalyst where meaningful becomes the DNA of PATA and all its activities going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex, for that definition of how we've got to where we are with our new vision and mission statements. Now, we do have a lot of questions here. I said I got some from got one from an email, so I'd like to actually jump right into them and invite all our speakers back if you want to turn the cameras on and join us back on the webinar here. And I'll just start going through the questions here, and then we'll go to the ones via email. So this is a question anybody here can answer it. This is from Lucas Massey. What strategies can African tourism entrepreneurs adopt to create shared value for both visitors and local communities, especially in areas where access to capital and training is limited? The second part of the question, what role can international organizations like PATA and the Meaningful Tourism Center play in supporting inter-regional knowledge exchange between Asia Pacific and Africa? Anybody would like to answer that question? Professor Wolfgang.
Well, I think, I can answer the first half. The second half is a question to PATA, so probably you or Alex can do that. Just briefly let me say thank you to all the speakers. I think we got a lot of positive feedback already. So Meaningful Tourism is very strongly looking at not the top places. So while we have everybody's talking about over tourism in Barcelona and in Venice, but these are a few places on our planet. Many places have rather not enough tourists. So therefore, Meaningful Tourism is a way where everybody also is active. Everybody is asked to be involved. It's not just something where you wait for the government to give you some money to do something. And therefore, I think it is clearly a tool for action, which is also suitable for the many places, well, the majority of places on the earth, where not the rich people live, but not the OECD countries. And because it is bringing together the local communities and the companies and also the employees and the NGOs, and so that there's something. Once you talk to each other, and this is also what we do in the workshops. So once you talk to each other, you find that you have much more common interests than you were thinking before, and that if you what Ria has been also pointing out in her presentation, that so networks are basically the answer, and if you do things together, you can do much more than you maybe thought as an individual person. So therefore, yes, it is clearly not an so when we have been developing this, so the main idea was not to help Barcelona or Saudi Arabia, but it was rather the idea to help those places where development is needed. And I'm sitting here in Nepal, in Kathmandu, and certainly I'm in the middle of a place where tourism has to develop in a meaningful way and could bring much more benefits if it would be the future developed in a meaningful way. So how Qatar can help with that? I think, well, we have two gentlemen from Qatar here, and Noor is, I think, also still with us. Thank you very much, Noor, for taking the time. So you probably can answer that.
Sure, I'll help answer the second question. Well, I guess there's events that we organize, right? I'll give you a perfect example. We had our annual summit earlier this year in Istanbul. We actually had a beautiful lady from Westgrow in South Africa. She joined us at the event. She also spoke at the event. And so she was able to speak about some of her experiences in the topic that was on stage, but also she was able to share those with the delegates that were there, and I believe she had a wonderful time and really learned a lot when she was at the event. I think Ria actually talked about it a lot in her presentation. A lot of the networks and events that she had mentioned, where African stakeholders in the tourism industry can come to these events. They can learn from other stakeholders in the Asia Pacific region, but also use the opportunity to also share some of their experiences at these various events that she had mentioned, whether it's FIST in Phuket, whether it's the Mekong Tourism Forum, where it's PADAS events, so those are the opportunities there, and of course, if there was events in Africa where Meaningful Tourism Center or PADA was invited, we were happy to go there and speak and share some of our experiences, or even invite some of our members to go and speak at events in Africa. If the opportunity arises, yes, we're happy to do that and facilitate that. Alex, you want to add anything to that? I believe he's doing that in Mongolia right now and speaking at an event.
Actually, I introduced the concept of meaningful here at the ICAO conference. ICAO is the UN agency for aviation. So there's a huge group here, and the concept of PADA's vision was very, very well received. I had a constant flow of people wanting to talk further about it and asking how they can help. And in Mongolia, I think we have several new members of PADA as a result of that presentation. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's PADA can support in I guess it's a platform as a primary thing. So as a platform, we can expand the reach and bring resources that you may need strengthening, and that's what I would focus on initially. So leverage PADA in strengthening the message and the coordination, and focus on being innovative, collaboration, and being adaptable. That's really the three underlying principles in our mission statement.
Thank you very much, Alex. Let's jump to the next question here. So this is open for anybody to answer. This is from Everest Bahati. It is evident the modern traveler's desire for deeper emotional connection and creates opportunities in the how, moving beyond knowing this to implementing it practically and making it a powerful selling point. How do we empower local operators and storytellers to adopt this new shift, looking at responsible tourism beyond their Western concept belief? Anyone? Catherine? So you open your mouth?
Yeah. I knew it would be for me. Yeah, I mean, it requires a little bit of, as I say, empathy and compassion. And I think that if for people who work in marketing, it's very important, to put your feet in the other people's shoes, because I believe we don't listen to each other anymore. People pretend that they know better than others, and some people say, don't tell your guest when you are a hotel manager, be sustainable and don't tell your guest, don't ask them to be responsible because they can't. We need to be a little bit more human, I would say, and less rational. If we only, I'm not sure I answered the question, but if we only stick to figures and numbers and market research and studies, we will not achieve any change. We will only have, we should do this, we have to do that, but sustainability or meaningful tourism should be practiced. It's not only it's like Buddhism. Buddhism, there are a lot of principles, but if you don't practice Buddhism or any religion, doesn't make any sense. So I think in that way, meaningful means we need to not only to be intelligent intellectually, but also emotionally. So I would say storytelling with emotion, personal stories, showing the example, walking the talk. We can definitely make more progress than you should do this, and if you are not doing that, you are a bad person. And if you confess, then come back to like being an angel. I don't want to be controversial, but sometimes sustainability is a little bit too much about dogmas and punishment and bad boy, good boy. Why we should definitely have a more yin-yang approach where there is no good, no bad. For example, mass tourism is not bad because we need some mass to develop a country. Otherwise, we cannot develop a country only with one or two travelers. So my point is that let's be a little bit nuanced and let's listen more to people who have something to say. Let's be more tolerant. I mean, it's not a big deal, these are normal qualities, I believe. So yeah, listening. So that would be my question, listening and walking the talk.
Thank you very much, Catherine.
I'd like to add
Ria.
something.
Oh,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Ria, ladies first.
Okay, no, I wanted to add something on the storytelling, being a storyteller myself, because we really need to help, local operators, even hospitality brands, tell their stories in a way that highlights their uniqueness, whether it's cultural heritage or their values, because it's about celebrating what makes this community special and sharing it, authentically with the travelers, because that will put their destinations on the map. And by focusing on what's local, what's meaningful, they can create experiences that resonate deeply with visitors. So storytelling is an important part of it, in addition to what I have mentioned earlier on education, training, collaboration, and network.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I agree. And just to add maybe one more point. So we had a discussion with our colleagues in South Africa who are also joining us today. I know, and they also pointed out that there's a lot of this discussion that we, as the meaningful travelers, we are having to help the local people, and we have to make the people the place a better place when you leave compared to when you came, and all this stuff. But all this is always looking from the traveler's point of view, and not from the host community's point of view. And so what we have been, Catherine and Ria have been saying, listening and letting people speak. And that is also empowering the local people to say, okay, we are not a living museum pieces. We are real, and we are also shaping our own future. We don't need Western tourists. We don't need white people in Africa telling us how to be sustainable. And so I think that is a part of the answer to go away from this Western concept that we tell the little people in the third world how they should live. To be a bit more humble and a bit more listening, bring your ears, not only your mouth, but your dollars. So that is probably also a way for the local people to be proud of what they have and what that people come and looking at what they have and make them confident that this is something worth selling and worth presenting to their guests.
Thank you very much, Professor. We'll move to our next question. Try to get through all of them before the time runs out. So this is from Swayam Sen. Good afternoon, respected hosts and Pada. My question is about two topics that can be mixed together. Will embracing the 17 SDGs of the UN enhance our approach to achieve the goal of meaningful tourism globally? Will any specific SDG be required for doing so? Professor?
Maybe I can give a short answer to that.
Okay.
The SDGs, we are now at 2/3 of the 15 years of the SDGs, and we unfortunately see very little real progress, a lot of talking, not much action. And so I don't think we need a meaningful tourism SDG. We need a holistic approach. So the SDGs have been mentioning a lot of different things, but they have not really said what is a hierarchy. And I think there's also a question from one of our trainers. So what about peace? And so certainly, I mean, as you see, unfortunately, in now a lot of parts of the world, without peace, there's nothing. There's also no tourism, certainly. So therefore, these SDGs, you need a holistic approach which has a clear hierarchy. What are the key things to measure and to achieve? And so therefore, I think hopefully after the SDGs, there will be a new concept coming, which hopefully is informed by the meaningful tourism approach to say, okay, how are these things interconnected and not just stating different goals which are looking like they're not interrelated when of course in fact they are. So I think the SDGs, it's good, it's better we have them than we don't have them, but I think the next step after SDGs has to be much more thought out and much more holistic than what we have until now.
Thank you very much, Professor. We have a question that was actually in the chat, which I see here. Here's the question from, I guess, Vinod. This is an interesting discussion. One question, anybody can answer it. In your experiences, are hotels open to investing in sustainability efforts?
Catherine.
Huh?
Why always me?
You're the hotel
The answer
expert.
is no. No, I'm just joking.
Or Ria, whatever.
Hey, you can be truthful. All right, so we'll move to the next question. The next question here is, this is a question for you, Professor. Is it really fully meant to switch from joy and peace to a source of unnecessary pollution, or is it meant as an add-on?
Well, it is, no, I was very brief, and I mean, I was too brief when I mentioned that. So I think what we can see is that after Second World War, when tourism developed with jet engines and the turbojet and so on, so we were the guys bringing to many countries in the third world, as it was called, jobs, because we could, without much investment, we could put sunshine and then beaches and the big 5 animals for safaris. So you could earn money from that without having to invest building factories or something. Also, we were seen as a clean industry, not having smokestacks and so on. So we are the good guys and bringing joy and maybe even peace by different people meeting each other. So now, with the over-tourism debate, with climate change debate, with all the question about pollution, so now we have lost this positive image. And now if you tell people, oh, I flew for the weekend to Papua New Guinea to be one day in the jungle, they will say, oh, you're a pig, so you're polluting. 10 years ago, they would say, wow, what a guy. Now you say, well, how do you dare to quote Greta Thunberg? So we have to go back to the point that we say, we are the good guys. So we are helping, yes, peace, so by understanding, and we are helping to create jobs and to which are helping communities to survive, which are helping to protect the environment, not destroy the environment. So this is where we have to go back to. And so therefore it's not an add-on. It is a very important thing because there is a danger that the politicians will come up with the idea, oh, maybe these guys are not having a good image and tourists are not voters in the country where the politicians are. So let's make more problems for tourism. Let's tax them more. Let's ask them money for using our city centers. Let's ask them, because we are using a lot of public goods. We are using beaches, we are using cathedrals, we are using city centers without paying for that. And until now, that has been okay because we were the good guys. Now maybe that is something where we have to be careful that if we are seen as the bad guys, we might then also becoming the target of some politicians finding a new way to earn taxes. So that is what I mean. And of course, we see now with the Iranian airspace closed now for everybody, Russian airspace closed for the Western airlines. Flying from Asia to Europe has become more expensive, takes more time now, so less people are traveling because it's not so convenient anymore and more expensive. So this is a very practical negative result for Asia Pacific tourism, which shows clearly it is well, it's bad to kill people, but it's also bad for business.
Well, thank you very much, Professor. We're running out of time here, so unfortunately we can't get to all the questions because I do want to just leave let each speaker just have a final word. So just your final thoughts on what people should really take away regarding meaningful tourism and how they can apply it in their businesses. So I'll go around the room, get one last word, just your final thoughts, and I'll start top left, Dr. Nergal, if you want to start. Final thoughts?
Yes, thank you very much for the meaningful events. So nice to meet you for everyone. Thank you very much. I will say just thank you.
All right. I'll go to Ria next.
Okay, I'll take this opportunity to answer the last question. Just 1 minute. Asking about hotels investing in sustainability, because there's always this misconception that to embrace sustainability, you have to invest. Sustainability doesn't mean installing solar panels. It's not limited to investing on, facilities. It's also about implementing or even collaborating with local community. That's sustainability, or responsible sourcing, collaborating with local suppliers. That's sustainability. So with that, I'm leaving the final word that sustainability is not just a cost center. It's a revenue generating, or profit generating initiative. And talking about meaningful tourism is even more because you're involving all the stakeholders. That's it, Paul. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Catherine, final words? Catherine, any final words from you? You'd like to leave one final thought to the audience? Or I can move on to Professor Gaunt. I'll go to the professor.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Catherine.
Yeah, sorry, because my connection is awful. So I would say probably I would recommend to Not sure you can listen to me very well. Okay, let me remove my video then. Okay. Is it better like that?
Yes, we
Or
can.
maybe
Yes.
another person while
No.
I'm recovering my
We can hear you, Catherine. We can hear you.
internet.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Well,
So I just wanted to say that we need to transform options into principles or even standards, because right now everybody think they have choices, and very soon we won't have choices, and it really makes sense, you know, to integrate all those principles into our lifestyles and models.
thank you very much, Catherine. Professor?
Yes, thank you. I think clearly what Ria just said is the point that if you don't do anything, the world is changing, and we have climate change, we have AI. So many organizations, many companies, many destinations are in danger of going belly up if you don't change now. This is something you have to face, and to hope, oh, it will not be so bad, it's not working. The time for action is now. And if you are maybe a bit faster than your competitors, maybe you have a better chance to stay relevant in the future. And so just let me finish by saying, so I'm very happy that at the end of May, 26th to 28th of May, we will be at the Pata Travel Mart as an exhibitor, and we are actually sharing our stand with a company which is doing carbon credit trading and water credit trading. And that is also an example of what Ria has been saying, that this is something where you can actually earn money, not spend money on reducing your carbon footprint and your water consumption. And not acting now is much more expensive in the future. And this is something you can see in many fields, and tourism is one of them. So that it is, we are pushed to do something, and now we still have the opportunity to be not just a victim, but be an actor in doing something meaningful. And that is what I think, with the help of PATA and maybe with our help as well, we can achieve. But the time is now. The house is on fire. There's no discussion anymore what wallpaper to use for decoration. You have to find the fire extinguisher.
Thank you very much, Professor. And last and certainly not least, Alex, final words from you.
My final words are be meaningful.
And with that, thank you so much to all of our speakers for a wonderful session today. Very more enlightened about meaningful tourism and how we can be applied and how we can spread the message. So thank you, Dr. Nergal, Ria, Catherine, Professor Wolfgang, and Alex. I'll let you guys all leave, and I'll just do a quick wrap up before I actually shut down today's webinar. So thank you guys. Take care. And as
Namaste.
Namaste. And as Professor Wolfgang had said, we do have our Pata Travel Mart coming up in the end of August 26th to 28th. It is happening here in Bangkok, Thailand at the Queen Circuit National Convention Center in Thailand. Professor Wolfgang's workshop will be happening on the 25th. So do get there a day early if you want to join the Meaningful Tourism workshop. And then, of course, the 26th, we will be having our Pata Knowledge Forum, which is a full-day conference. Alex will be speaking there, as well as Professor Wolfgang. The 27th, 28th is the trade show day. Registration is still open for both buyers and exhibitors. So do register today if you are interested. And just for our activities this year, we have a Pata Destination Marketing Forum taking place in Chiang Rai, Thailand from December 1st to 3rd. At the Heritage Chiang Rai Hotel and Convention Center. The theme of the event is steeped in tradition, rooted in wellness, weaving the meaningful narrative of travel. And then looking at next year, we have our Pata Annual Summit 2026 that'll be taking place in Gyeongju and Pohang, Korea, South Korea, from May 11th to 13th. This is the first time we've actually held our annual summit in 2 different cities. Don't worry, the cities are actually right next to each other. It's just a quick 30-minute drive from Gyeongju to Pohang, I believe. So it's not in 2 separate cities that you have to fly back and forth to. So please do join us at either of any of these events. Registration is still open for part of Child Mart. Destination Marketing Forum will be registration will open soon, and the annual summit registration will open soon as well. Any questions, feel free to visit our website at www.pod.org, or you can email me at paul@pod.org. I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have any questions for our speakers, happy to then send them over to them so they can get back to you if you have any specific questions to any of our speakers today. Once again, thank you to all of our speakers here today. So Professor Wolfgang, Catherine, Ria, Dr. Nurgle, Alex, and Noor, who spoke at the very beginning. Thank you so much. And as always, thank you to our PADA Executive Board, our PADA Board members, our PADA Life members, our PADA partners, members, chapter members for the continued support of the association. Without your support, none of this would be possible. And with that, that is the end of today's webinar. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you soon. Bye.